kill the light. Let the shadows learn your name tonight. Old wood creaks, cold air slips. Thinking juice, go on, take a sip. If you hear a knock, don't answer it.
Welcome back to Thinking Juice. My name is Matthew, and today we're going to do something a little bit different. Unfortunately, Tyler cannot be with us. He's on vacation. So let's wish him a good time. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to tell you some stories. Some very intimate stories that have been told to me by some friends, by some fans, and also by some family members and colleagues. So let's get into it. And this is Thinking Juice. Once again, I'm Matthew, but if you want, you can call me Travis. So let's get started. That's story number 1. The Night Shift Mirror. So as my friend said, I took a night job at a small gym because it was quiet. Wipe down equipment, refill sanitizer, lock up. Easy money. The only creepy part was the hallway mirror. It ran almost the full length of the corridor behind the front desk. One of those wall mirrors that makes a place look bigger. At 2 a.m., it made the gym look empty and stereo. The first night, I kept catching movement in it. Not a person, just motion. Like a corner of someone's shirt turning, or a shoulder passing behind a machine. Every time I turned, nothing. I told myself it was one of my own reflections. Parallax, so to speak. Long hours, eyes doing that thing. The second night, I noticed something weird about the mirror. The angle wasn't perfect. It didn't reflect the hallway the way it should. The lockers were a little shifted, like a reflection was a few inches wrong. I leaned in close, and I tried to line it up. But when I moved my head left, my reflection moved left. But it lagged. Not by much. Not enough for your brain to scream, just enough for your gut to tighten, because your body can sense when something is out of sync. So I started watching my reflection while I walked. At first, it matched, and then it didn't. My steps were normal, but in the mirror my stride was slow. Like I was wading through water, like the air in the reflection was thicker. I stopped walking, but in the mirror, I took one more step. It wasn't a big step, more like a drift. Like my reflected foot didn't want to stop where I stopped. That's when the lights flickered, just once, a stutter. The gym went quiet in a way that it hadn't before. There was no hum, no vents, no soft mechanical whir. The silence landed like a blanket over my head. I forced myself to laugh because the alternative was admitting I was scared. I said out loud, like an idiot, "Okay, that's enough." In the mirror, my mouth didn't move. My reflection kept smiling. Not a friendly smile. Not my smile. A smile like a door slowly opening. I took a step back. The reflection did not. It stayed close to the glass, inches away from where my face should be, like it had leaned forward. Then I noticed something. In the mirror, behind my reflection, the hallway was darker, not just dim, wrong. Like the lights didn't reach as far. And in that dark section, there was a second shape. Not clear, not fully formed. Just the suggestion of someone standing behind the reflection of me. Too close, head tilted, like it was trying to read the back of my neck. I turned around fast enough to make my snipes pop. Empty hallway, lockers, the smell of disinfectant, my own breathing. I turned back to the mirror, but in the reflection, I hadn't turned. The reflected me was still facing forward, still smiling, while I stood there sideways, staring at it like you look at a dog that suddenly starts talking. Then my phone buzzed in my pocket. I snatched it out like it was a life raft. No notification, just the screen waking up. Camera open, front facing, and in the live camera view I saw myself, standing sideways. And behind me, in the real hallway, something leaned into frame. From the mirror's direction, like it was stepping out. I didn't lock up. I didn't grab my coat. I didn't even think. I just ran. And I swear, as I hit the exit, I heard the wet slap of footsteps behind me, but only in the mirror. Now on to the second story. The upstairs tenant who never leaves. So the listing said, quiet building. It was. Too quiet. The first week in my apartment was normal, except for one thing. Every night at 3:07 a.m., I heard a chair scrape across the floor above me. Just once. A long drag, like someone pulling it from the table with no urgency. Like they weren't mad. Like they had all the time in the world. And then utter silence. I assumed that the upstairs neighbors had a weird routine, late shift, insomnia. Maybe they were just living. The second week, a new sound started. Soft footsteps, bare, slow, crossing from one side of the ceiling to the other. Not pacing, not frantic. Measured, careful, like someone walking in the dark without turning on lights. So I finally saw the upstairs neighbor in the hallway. An older man, with cautious eyes. I tried to be casual. He said, "Do you work late? I hear movement around there." He blinked at me, like I'd spoken in a language he'd forgotten. "There hasn't been anyone in that unit," he said. I laughed. "What do you mean?" He looked past me, down the hallway, then leaned closer. "They sealed it 2 years ago." My stomach did that small, cold flip. I asked, "What happened?" He hesitated. Then he said the worst kind of answer, the simple kind. The tenant died. Quietly. Nobody noticed until the smell. That night, I slept with my TV on. At 3:07 a.m., the chair scraped. But this time, it didn't stop. It dragged halfway, then dragged back, then halfway again, like someone couldn't decide where to put it. Then I hear the footsteps. They didn't cross the ceiling. They moved to the spot directly above my bed and stopped. The quiet stretched. Then I heard something else. Something that didn't belong in an upstairs unit. A faint tapping. Not on the floor, but on the ceiling. Right above my head. First there was 3 taps. And then we paused. 3 taps. Like someone knocking from the wrong side of the wall. I sat up so fast that my pillow hit the headboard. I whispered, "Stop." The tapping paused. Then I heard a sound that made my mouth go dry. A chair leg squealing right above me, followed by the distinct weighty thunk of something being set down, like a chair. Like someone had placed it exactly above my head. And then, slowly, a new noise began. It was a creak, a controlled creak, like someone shifting their weight into the chair, sitting down carefully. The air in my room felt heavier, like a storm pressing on glass. I stared at the ceiling and tried not to think about sealed apartment, an empty unit, a chair being moved back and forth like a ritual. Then the ceiling vent beside my bed clicked. Just the metal cooling, except it didn't cool. It opened. The grate creaked, downward a fraction, like it was being pushed. Dust had fallen, and from inside the vent, right beside my ear, a voice breathed, too loud, and I realized the quiet building wasn't quiet because it was peaceful. It was quiet because everyone was listening. Now we'll go on to the next story. This one is called The Child's Voice on the Phone Line. We're going to let a little anticipation build up on this one. So, my grandmother used to call at the same time every week, Sunday, 7:30 p.m. If she missed it, something was indeed wrong. So when my phone rang at 7:30 and the caller ID said, "Grandma," I answered without thinking. "Hey," I said, already smiling. "You beat me to it." The line was silent. Not dead silent. More like a room with someone in it who isn't speaking yet. I heard faint background noise, like a television turned low, like a house breathing. "Grandma?" I said. Then I heard a child. A small, careful voice, like someone trying not to be caught. "Don't hang up." My smile died. I sat straighter. "Who is this?" The child whispered, "She can't talk." I swallowed. "Where is she?" The child didn't answer. Instead, I heard something scrape, like a chair, like something moving. Then the child said, "You have to listen." I listened because when someone says that in a quiet voice, your brain obeys. A sound came through the phone, a faint rhythmic tapping. But it wasn't random. It was patterned. It's 3 taps, pause, 2 taps, pause, 3 taps. Then the child whispered, "She's doing it again." My pulse started climbing. I tried to hang up. My thumb hit the screen, but nothing happened. The call continued. The child said more urgently, "You can't hang up. She'll notice." But in the background, I heard a soft drag like bare feet on carpet, and a breath close to the receiver. Slow. It wasn't a voice yet, just the sound of someone leaning in. And then my grandma's voice came through, but wrong. It was flat, sounded stretched, like a recording played on dying batteries. Sweetie? I almost cried from relief, but then she said something she never said. Look behind you. I froze, and the child whispered, Don't. My eyes flicked to the dark hallway behind my couch, and there was nothing. Grandma's voice again, closer now, like someone had moved the phone nearer their mouth. Look behind you, it repeated. The child whispered, If you turn around, she'll get closer. So I stared forward, my eyes wide, as if looking hard enough at my living room wall could keep something away. Why is she saying that? I whispered. The child answered with pure fear. Because she's not on the phone. Then my phone, still in my hand, started vibrating, not like a notification, like a heartbeat. Thump, thump, thump. And on the line, the child began to cry, because in the background, I heard the same rhythmic tapping, but no longer through the phone. Now, it was coming from inside my house, from the wall behind me. 3 taps, pause. 2 taps, pause. 3 taps. And my grandma's voice right in my ear whispered, Sweetie, I'm home. Now we will move on to the 4th story. This one is about a hotel room that always remembers you. So as the story goes, I was only staying one night. It was a cheap hotel off of the highway. The kind of place you forget the second you check out. The front desk clerk handed me the key, without smiling. Room 214, she said. Then, like an afterthought, she added, If you hear knocking, don't answer. I laughed, because that's what you do when somebody says something insane with a straight face. Knocking? I said. She stared at me for a beat too long. Just don't, she repeated. Room 214 was fine. Beige walls, slight smell of damp carpet, the usual sad painting of a boat. I locked the door, threw my bag down, turned on the television. As soon as the TV came on, the volume went to 0 by itself. I grabbed the remote when I turned it up. It clicked back down, like someone was pressing the button. I chalked it up to a busted remote and set it aside. Then I noticed the closet door was open, just about an inch. I didn't remember it being open. I closed it with my foot, sat back down. A minute later it creaked open again, just an inch. Like the room was breathing. At 2:14 a.m., I woke up without knowing why. The way you do when your body senses something your brain hasn't processed yet. The room was dark and very still. Then, knock, knock, knock. Not the door, but the wall. Right beside the headboard. 3 polite knocks, like someone was asking for entry to the space inside of your skull. I did not move. Once again, knock, knock, knock. A little closer. That didn't make sense, because walls don't have closer. But the sound did. Like it had shifted from the plaster into the air. My mouth was dry. My heart felt loud. Then, From the bathroom, the sink turned on. A thin stream, just enough to make noise. I stared at the bathroom door. It was cracked open. A sliver of darkness. Behind it, a faint sound, like someone rinsing their mouth. Then a whisper, low and intimate, like someone leaning over your shoulder. "You're late." I didn't breathe. The knocking stopped. It was silence. Then the door clicked, slowly opened, and from inside the closet, a voice, it was my voice, that said, "Don't answer." So I snapped my bedside lamp on. The room was empty. Bathroom door still cracked. Sink still running. Closet door open. And on the inside of the closet door, scratched into the wood, like it had been done with fingernails, were 3 words. Welcome back to 14. I hadn't saved it before. I know I hadn't. But my key card on the nightstand was facing up and the printed label didn't say 214. It said 214 returning guest. Then the phone on the nightstand rang. I answered it without thinking, because fear makes you stupid. And a woman's voice, calm as weather, said, "Thank you for coming back." And behind me, in the dark, something knocked once on the inside of my skull. Well, thank you so much for listening to my stories. Hopefully you don't have to buy any fresh underwear. I know I need to invest in a jacket because that gave me a little bit of the goosebumps. I got some chills on that one. So, if you like this video, please do like and subscribe. Also, too, feel free to listen to us on all other platforms. We are on Apple, we are on Amazon, we're on iHeartRadio and Spotify, and on and on and on and on. So, please feel free to listen. And if you want, you can always watch us. And Tyler will be back soon, I promise. And we'll get back to the funny stuff. But in the meantime, you're going to have to bear with my weird content. Hey, baby, next episode, I might bring the wife on, huh? That might be kind of fun. Make it a little lighthearted. Well, either way. Everybody, thank you for listening to Thinking Juice. My name is Matthew. You can always call me Travis. And enjoy your spooky, nightmarish night.